So I'll stay away from political stuff from now on. And if I do make a mention of it, I'll go ahead and make the analogy a lot better. I kind of blew it last time. I had a listener call me out on it. But I know. I gotta make a more elaborate and nuanced explanation as to why I would use something of that sort to explain theory development. Celeste and I both agree that that's the best approach, which would make for longer videos, but I just like these videos to be nice and short for now. Hi, Celeste. In this paper, it is explained that a companion star cannot have its age determined simply by determining the age of its host. I found a paper recently on Archive, it's spelled ARXIV, which is the establishment's version of a preprint server, of the scientists admitting inside of their abstract that if we assume a planet is the same age as the host star, then we can make a bunch of other propositions or guesses, if you will. Unfortunately, that's not a very good outlook. It's not a very good assumption, because that assumption can ruin all of your next hypothesis which come in line after that. And that's one of the main problems. The astrophysicists, they use assumptions that don't fit the observations very well. And those assumptions are based off of archaic views of nature, archaic views of the solar system, of the Earth, of the sun, etc. For this paper, I wanted to review stellar age delineation of hosts and companions. The ages of hosts and companions, they differ greatly. Establishment, they like to say, well, you know, if you have a group of objects, you have your large solar type object, all the other objects that are just in orbit around it are the same age, or about the same age. And that's true. That's how they do it inside the solar system. They say, well, the sun is this old. And then they say, well, the planets have to be the same age as the sun, or around about that. And it's a very flawed worldview, because it just sort of removes all the unique features of Jupiter, of Saturn, of Neptune, of Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars. They're all very, very unique. Just looking at them, any astronomer would agree that they're very unique objects. But this just sort of say, well, they're all the same age. And it just sort of clumps together their unique histories and pasts that are very vast into a little box where they have to force everything to have occurred in a set amount of time. And or if it's actually a very young object, or much younger, like Jupiter and the gas giants, they sort of make those processes stretch out much longer than what is needed. So they sort of make a worldview that stamps out all alternative hypotheses. And I don't think that's very scientific at all. I rewrote this paper and I put it up there. I don't know when it's going to be posted. But the example I gave when I was on the phone with Celeste earlier was, you know, you just don't assume that everybody on an airplane, say you left New York and you're on a flight to Heathrow, you don't assume everybody on the airplane is all the same age simply because they're going in the same direction and they're in proximity with each other. The plane is full of, you know, toddlers and older people and middle-aged and teenagers and what have you. And it sort of removes the deeper meaning that can be ascribed to nature. And I found out that's what a lot of astrophysicists do. They sort of remove the transcendence that astronomy has. Astronomy sort of has a transcendence to it. It transcends what we believe we know is true about the world. But the astrophysicists, their attitude is, well, we know what's up there. We can figure it out with our physics and our math equations. But it's a very flawed worldview. And then, you know, obviously, if you were to speak up about it and call them out on it, you'll get labeled a pseudoscientist or uneducated, or, you know, what's your degree in? Oh, you don't have a PhD. Or where are your publications? Are you peer reviewed? That sort of very closed-minded mentality sort of, it turns people off in a way that I think is very unhealthy, both educated and uneducated alike, because it sort of makes them feel as if they're not allowed to think for themselves or to question what we're being told. Yeah, but basically that's basically it. You can have objects in star systems that are all various ages. The Earth, I think, obviously is billions of years old, but the sun is very young, and of course that's blasphemy. And Jupiter isn't as nearly as old as the Earth, but definitely older than the sun. Mercury and Mars and Venus, they're very, very old. Venus, I think, is easily 700 billion years old. Mercury is easily in the trillions of years old. Neptune and Uranus, probably about 1 billion years old each, about 1/4 the age of the Earth. Jupiter and Saturn, between 700 and 500 million years old. And when you look at these objects as being very, very different in age, it makes things a bit more chaotic, but it also makes things easier to understand in light of what they actually are, what they're doing. Why would a gas giant as massive as Jupiter spin faster than the Earth? Why is the Earth spinning fast? Why is the Earth spinning slower than Jupiter? Jupiter has far more mass. Why would something much more massive be spinning faster? It doesn't make any sense. I think it spins once every 16 hours or something like that, maybe 10 hours. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But anyways, it's faster than the Earth. How is that possible? And the answer is it's much younger than the Earth. But those simple questions you can ask now that you remove the limiting assumptions that astrophysicists have placed onto their observations. Anyways, you guys, that basically sums us up. I'll link this to the bottom. This paper is dated July 27th, 2016. It's taken me a full almost 60 years to go back and just add a reference or two on it. That's how many papers have been written. That's insane. All right, later, y'all.